Okay, guys, so the question is Chinese or English easier to learn? Well, of course, that depends on what nationality you are. But over the last 3 years, here in America, I've asked dozens and dozens of people this explicit question. And not only this one, but is China, comparing Chinese to, say, French, Spanish, German, etc. And they always pick Chinese as the most difficult language to learn. But I'm here to debunk that, and I'm going to show you why. First of all, let's take a look at English. English has some serious issues. All right, so let's take a look at a few words for beginners. Let's see what non-English speaking people have to deal with when they go through, say, 6 years of school overseas, right, before they come here. And in fact, I've talked to a lot of people who've learned English, and the average time I've found is somewhere between 7 to 10 years for them to finally really learn English well enough to feel comfortable to really speak it well. All right, so let's take a look at a few words first. We'll go this one, I will take this one, that one. We'll just look at these. All right, so we have top, hope, evolve, money, and how. So now imagine you're a student over there, you're going, okay, here's a word, top, and this is how you pronounce it, top. Ah, now think about that sound, ah. Okay, so you learn the ah sound. And then you go over to this word, and then they have to learn to read, and they read this word, and they go, well, that's must be hop. But no, it's hope, right? And then this one, here's evolve. That's kind of like a ah sound too. And how about money? That's an sound. M-O is an sound. So it has, and then how? Ow. So we have all these different sounds just for the O sound alone. Okay, let's look at a few more. Okay, how about this one? Okay, same thing. Said, paid, and aisle. Three distinct pronunciations for this AI vowel combination. Well, it's crazy because then if you have somebody try and read contextually, so you read and you try and pick it up just by doing it that way, it's virtually impossible because you never know which word you have to pronounce which way. So what it does, it forces people in other countries to have to specifically learn the sound of each and every word in many cases as you go along. They just can't pick up a book and read. All right. Oh, let's how about a couple others? Just a couple others. Okay, how about this? One more. Get the point. Here's an OU. Could, shout, trouble, and through. So an oo, an an ow, and a sound. So you can see the issues with it. All right, now let's take another look at one other thing. So how about if you have studied languages like French, Spanish, French, Spanish, German, Italian, and you know about the difficulties of conjugating verbs, you know how complicated it is. Like, for instance, let me see if I remember. Je vais, right? Tu vas, tu vas, il va. Let's see, what is it? Nous allons, vous allez, and ils or elles vont, right? So in this case, not only do you have to know these pronouns, I, you, he, she, we, you, and they. I don't have she in there. She's elle. So, but you have to know you have to change the form of the verb when you conjugate it. Va, va, allons, aller, and vont. Right. So when you start counting up the number of words, and I've studied a fair amount of languages, you realistically need about 300 verbs minimum that you would use in fairly common situations over and over again to really be able to express yourself well. And then you have to learn the different endings for each one of them, even though the grammar rules are supposed to tell you that. But then when you get to having to learn other tenses, then there's these intermediate forms, like, if you wanted to say in French, if you wanted to say I went, you'd have to know je, then you'd have to know the verb to be, so you could conjugate it like this: je suis allé, right? So it's a nightmare. However, if you look at another language like Chinese, right, then in China they don't actually conjugate the verb. So if you have, I can't, it's wa is for I, and then I don't have the tone markers in here, but chu is go, I go. But if you wanted to say I went, it's just wa chu le. Or I have gone, wa, chu, go, like that. So the verb never changes. So in many ways, it's very, very simple throughout the thing. The complication in Chinese is the characters. They are difficult, no doubt. But when it comes to the spoken language, even considering all the tones that you have, the 4 different tones associated with the language, it's a lot easier. I've studied some French and Spanish and Japanese and Chinese, and I used to think the same thing. I thought Chinese would be the hardest, hands down, and sure enough, it was just the opposite. Chinese tends to be the easiest language to learn to speak. But with all that, it still came down to I was spending years and years trying to learn languages, and it's like, well, how do I go from one language to another to another? Because it literally takes thousands of hours to try and memorize all the grammar rules and all the verbs and everything. So what did I do? I said, nope, forget it. I'll just write my own. And that's what I did. I wrote my own language called Sikwenchu. It's on the Amazon store. You type Sikwenchu and it's in there. It's going to be 2 volumes. The first one's already published. The difference is, instead of say 4 to 7 years to learn a language, Sikwenchu is designed to be learned in 4 to 7 weeks to get you to begin speaking. I'm not kidding you, 4 to 7 weeks. And the reason being is because I don't have grammar, conjugation in there. I don't have masculine and feminine nouns like you see in French, Spanish, German. I don't have plural forms. And so I've simplified the daylights out of the grammar. And not only that, I have a very powerful way of organizing words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, so you can memorize hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them over a very short period of time and retain them in memory. It's a very powerful new system. It's designed to essentially replace English as the dominant world language in a very short period of time, because it's going to save everybody from having to spend years and years and years and years with all these ridiculous rules. And because the languages by evolution and by design just don't really cut it. So this is a designed language. I'm a computer guy, so I apply a lot of logic to it. It took me about almost just over 5 years to figure out the puzzle to be able to do it. So if you'd like to take a look, I'd really be happy if you would take a look at it, because it's designed to get truly tens of millions of us from all countries in a very short period of time to be able to speak with each other. Okay? Okay, well, that's the goal. And thanks kindly. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.